I know you've been playing this. I know you've been playing this, Carrie, but you cannot blind that. Cannot blind. Okay, good. Can't blind Nidalee. Well, you know what? I thought the Nidalee into Jace wasn't going to be a complete stomp, and then it was. So, what do I know? What is Barrel's pick going to be here? Unless we're doing some really weird flexing, which I don't think is going to be the case.
Way, obviously, here.
Well, he is playing into Nico, so he might have something.
Renata?
Brom? Brom into Ornn always feels good. Brom into Jhin feels good.
Just a Barrel classic.
That's the Barrel classic. Just going to pick his Leona. Yeah, it really makes sense, right? The only downside I see is that the Merc's value will skyrocket, but it's not the end of the world. There is not that much AD damage towards the top side of the map, which with the Ornn might become a problem initially, or eventually. I do think aiming is going to go on hit in this, try and just maximize the damage. We'll see. I think T1, if it gets too late, is going to be feeling great, because I do really worry about who will kill.
Let's see how it's going to work here on the Rift for game number 1.
생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, game number 1 of our second series tonight. Curious to see T1's form today and how well DK can take this one down, or if they do at all.
Ooh, aiming going for comment, so looks like he's going lethality instead. Will make him a bigger threat towards the rest of T1, so it makes sense from that perspective, but
that this is happening, but they want to go for the 2v2 here, actually, as Barrel coming in, and so is Lucid. Guma in a bit of trouble. He does have the cleanse and the flash, but now going to get stunned down. There's the cleanse, but you just can't get away from the rumble, as it is a very nice gank set up here by DPLUS. Owner does come up, gets stunned, but Barrel is in a rough spot himself, so they do trade it back eventually, right?
He's dead.
Yeah, okay. Eventually, okay, they almost give the kill over to FAKER, actually, which would have been nice. But Owner does pick it up.
Interesting sequence there. You'll take that trade if you are DK. He's aiming also forced to flash. And Doran's ult is on cooldown, so my guess is that 1-1 makes 2. I'm sure we'll get a replay of that while this was happening, which is definitely suboptimal. So they trade 1-for-1, but the grubs go to T1. There wasn't really any cross map. This should be a good angle for a dive, though. He's already aggroed on the turret, but I think it's fine.
Oh, well, they kind of just juggled the Ornn in between the turret, and Doran is going to go in onto SHOWMAKER, and now he flashes, which you're already dead, so you're not going to get away anyway. Just wasting his flash, and now trying to flash in is Keria. That was never going to be a kill either. Maybe didn't know Barrel was there, but either way, kind of a funny scenario that they do find themselves in. So kill goes over to DPLUS, and maybe they do the dragon, but nah, we're going to back away. Show the Keria
flash. The Keria flash. If Doran had his ult, you know, he did get the flash for aiming, but if Doran had his ult, he might have lived there. Unfortunately, aiming won't have his flash for this fight.
This is going in directly on the Guma, but that is pretty deep. Keria zoning with the Pop Blossom as Lucid getting incredibly low. He will be punished for going that deep, but they do trade it back onto the enemy jungler. Now trying to take down SHOWMAKER, but it's not exactly working out. They finally take down Barrel, and now SHOWMAKER 1v3, but FAKER dashes over the rocks and aiming nearly full health. He is going to take a big chunk, but now DK immediately turn it around as they go way too deep for that one, and they get punished immediately by DK.
You could have left! T1, just leave! Once a kill comes through, he gets his passive, he gets so much free attack speed. As he gets multiple blight stacks, he's still going to be doing a lot as a counter. Turn on Barrel.
Yeah, trying to go on a Barrel here. I think Barrel is just dead. 1v3. Yeah. He's going to start clearing the wave.
Hey, he warded!
Yeah, nice.
He gets value. Good stuff.
Okay, they finally killed the Leona.
At the fleet,
nice.
Fine. Big mistake by Doran, and I'm a little upset about that. But the thing I always look towards is staying even in XP. And he's still behind, but obviously did die once due to the dive. Because XP for me is the biggest thing. When you can start giving out your ornaments, so much value is given W is used by Owner.
Yeah, he does back away. It's a bit of a fight for the grubs, but I think, you know, you've got Doran and bot. He does have TP, but a fight doesn't really break out. T1 don't want to go in on the grub fight, so they just back away.
The Showmaker, they're going to just accept. This is something that DK in particular do, and Showmaker does this more than almost any other mid. That one's called fishing for cleanse. He didn't hit. In this game, play for late game, you have Ornn, you have Azir. I think even the Fairy is quite of a late game threat.
Even
you get
the
resets.
Jhin, like
fine.
With the current builds, you know, where you go like IE third, I've been seeing that a lot. It feels like he actually does have a decent amount of damage. He's not always just running around dropping his bullets doing nothing.
It's not just Mosquito Jhin.
Actually does a healthy amount of damage, I'd say, in the current iteration of the game, with the current build that we see very often. So I don't mind it. You know, I think they do have a lot of threats later on, and especially you're going up into Lethality Varus. Also has decent late game damage, but isn't like the most scaly kind of guy. A little 1v1 here. Cleanse does come out. And that's fishing for cleanse, version 2.
This time it works though. Aiming also doesn't get hit by the bouncing grenade, so nice. Nice done there. Because now Barrel can, with his ult, just force a flash out of Guma. He needs to be careful. Yeah, I do think that, I forgot which patch it was exactly, but it was a patch like, I want to say 5-6 patches ago where they changed Lethality Varus, and I do think he's much more of a threat now. Is FAKER just going to get his turret and leave, and the game is basically even. And what makes this game really interesting to me is that, as mentioned, I give T1 the edge in scaling. I also think that the range with the Jhin and the Azir in particular is really nice, but the front to back for DK is also still great. And the amount of team fight AoE damage they have between the Taliyah, the Rumble, is kind of crazy. And trying to play even Ornn into Taliyah, I think is actually so annoying. Because whenever you ult, if you're doing it too close, right, you can just block it either with the W or with the E. See how DK can play around that, but clearly either team is saying, we skill. Just relax. Just chill.
Yeah. Both of them just sitting around. Neither team going for the Chemtech Drake either. It felt like a little bit of a standoff, a bit of a stalemate over that Drake, where both teams were setting up vision around it, but nobody got a clear advantage, so they were both like, well, we don't want to take a risk on it, so we'll just leave it.
Risk-averse gaming in my LCK.
Yeah, very different from the first series, which was, well, risk enjoyers.
Well, they were just risk ignorers. Risk isn't real, Valdez.
Yeah.
As an early TP, maybe they'll just take the TP and let you go for the turret. We'll see. Looks like they're still posturing. Might be looking for a TP angle here.
Yeah, I think it's going to go onto that control ward right there. He's getting his bar ready, but still a bit of time, so he'll be able to push a wave in first. Still doesn't have to, as you mentioned before. There's the wall. Lucid in next to the Rift Herald as Doran going to get stunned up. There's the smite going to Lucid. They get it. A nice ult comes in from Doran. The follow-up a little bit late, but now Lucid in a rough spot as down will go Showmaker, down will go Lucid, and now the ult goes in on Aiming, who actually does survive for quite a while on Xiu, doing a decent job of zoning away. T1 can't quite put the nail in the coffin, but they did get a couple of kills and win the fight at least.
I also don't think I'm not sure if DK got the eye. Maybe they did in the end.
I don't think so.
If Lucid doesn't hit that wall slam onto Carrier, that fight is a complete disaster. T1 actually playing really nicely with the range there. Coming in from multiple angles. Yes, Doran dies, but he's kind of the ideal target to go down anyway. And there you can see, confirmed, not actually going to see that eye picked up. So really big win for T1. They get bunch of kills, a great way because of the fact that they've used so many resources on Doran to actually get on top of Guma, who was unthreatened there. T1 is just saying, well, you can have the dragon, we don't really care. You're just going to get the full outer ring of turrets with FAKER picking up yet another.
Infernal Solo coming through, and definitely very good with scaling. Probably our best Soul. So we're in this one for the long haul. It's still a relatively even game state, but T1 definitely took a big step into the lead after that fight. So, gotta like their chances, you know, with their scaling comp, with Infernal Soul on the Rift. It feels like they are in control of this game right now. Now there's still threats on the side of DK, obviously, but I don't like their position here. Feels pretty good for them at this point in time.
Do agree. We'll see. Knowing DK, we are going to get a crazy Otacon setup as Beryl goes in.
Just baiting out the ult, you know. Just a normal day in the life for Beryl. And now we got, the big impale! Gets him over the wall as well! And that's the end of Owner. And T1, they were in a good spot, but now they're losing 2 as big damage comes out. And the flick on a Faker into the ult from aiming. It is massive for DK, and right before the Otacon spawns.
Oh, according to Beryl's plans, I can hear Atlas yell. He's not even in low bar! As Beryl sets up a tasty bait, and guess what? They fall for it, as this should never ever hit the mark, although Lucy's gonna take a roll.
Don't even just run away! There's no chance you're stealing that as Jin. It's not gonna happen.
Yeah, if the wave was pushed up,
he's level 3.
Should be looking at getting Cyrilda's next, which is gonna make his damage even more threatening. And you can see Banana Brush control, they're scared to actually go in on Lucid. And they should be, as this might be a make or break fight, right? Baron is spawning in about 50 seconds, and T1 calling the bluff, saying if you just fully commit to this dragon, getting an inner is nice. This isn't sole point. It looks like T1 is just going to take that, and I think this is fine.
Yeah, I think it's the right call. It doesn't feel amazing, but you shore up a little bit of your gold deficit, and also you didn't want to push into... It will be able to.
Ooh, tension, Valdez. The range for T1, we talked about it earlier. You can see it in action here. Sums available for basically everyone.
Yeah, T1, just go Baron. Just say,
they're
okay,
going. Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, they're going.
Either you fight us on Baron, or we'll take it. Because they do have a lot of damage with the Azir, with the Nefiri.
All in the bluff.
Yeah.
But T1 have a ward on Dragon, so they know there's not an individual member doing Drake, and no one on DK is really that good at soloing it, except aiming, but he can't really walk over.
Yeah, but DK, they know that T1 aren't going to take the risk of starting it at this point in time.
There's so much AoE damage is the problem. If you're in the pit and you get toasted, or Showmaker gets on top of you,
or maybe they will just start it.
Well.
Oh, okay, well they started it and then they didn't. So they're trying to turn onto a Leona, not the best idea, but Beryl does get extremely low, as now Doran also not the target here. Getting out of that back line as Suda disappears, the damage was insane! As he just gets crit down. Beryl also in trouble here. Amy taking a bunch of damage as now the engage comes in from Keria, and Owner is going insane mode on this back line. Incredible play from Owner in that fight. And DK, they tried to call the bluff and they got stomped down.
Shiu thinks he's tanky with these items. It makes a little bit of sense, but instead he just gets one-tapped. I think it was Guma with the auto, and the fight starts up because I think it was aiming, getting a really big Q on multiple members. And it's again the flank. There's no way Lucy can actually do this, right? Yeah, I was about to say, he just doesn't have the damage. So that's going to be Baron. Off of an amazing team fight here for T1. For DK is that they do not give the dragon yet, but I don't think they can actually fight this, right? They're just going to watch it be taken, and DK, looks like T1 fighting just a little bit too much. T1 just biding their time. Still has less kills, by the way, than DK do.
Well, just throwing in a Pop Blossom just to try to survive, but he's going to die anyway. Nice little pick from DK. Gonna take out the Nico, and Beryl doesn't get rooted either. Big seismic goes in! As all of a sudden, he goes in. I'm not sure about that one. Owner just avoids the impale. And it's a trade. Now, I feel like this is still good for DK, even though the end of that was rough. They did take out one of the guys that had Baron and stop the push.
He'll take it.
Now we're fighting. We're looking for Guma. He's in a bit of trouble, but he does flash away. He does an incredible amount of damage at this point in time. And sticking around is DK. They're committing.
DK?
They're committing to this one, but now the Jin has opened up. But the Jin is low. They're trying to just run at the Jin. It's not exactly working either. Okay, they do take him down. Siu, though, going 1v2 on the top side. Eventually, he does die, but Owner trying to go 1v3. He takes out one, and the dogs are soaking up so much damage, but Showmaker just trade it back. And now, it's kind of an even fight. Doran has to frontline. The TP! Oh, Garia does come over, and that'll be the end of that. as both of them get taken down, and T1 win the fight eventually.
Still think T1's favored. Think DK are gonna have to fight in
Close game though.
uphill battle. But this is a banger, Val.
This is good. This is what we wanted.
Yeah.
We expected a bit more from our first series, but now maybe it's leaked over into our second series, which we also expected a lot from. Today is a good day to be an LCK fan.
Void Staff now for Shiu as well. I'm no longer worried about Doran surviving. They really, their itemization has been very on point. And as mentioned, I think that since the changes, lethality Vera's late game is actually disgusting. Like, you do so much damage if you hit a squishy.
Yeah. And
He will have to, because they are outranged outside of that. And now T1, full ornaments across the board.
the damage dealt
There you
definitely
go.
tells the story that you were trying to say, that you were trying to tell. Just gonna ult aiming
They're
here.
falling for it.
And they're going pretty deep for the Varus as the ult comes in and aiming goes incredibly low, does get taken out, but now Owner is so deep behind enemy lines, this ult back on a barrel, but still does go down. But they took out SHOWMAKER amongst the chaos, and this is a great opportunity for T1 to potentially end the game. Shiu gets taken down by FAKER, and that'll be the end, a double kill, as FAKER does dive the turret. And now they're looking for, they don't quite have the wave, but they're clearing it, and I think the death timers at 35 minutes should be long enough.
They will be. Doran on a tank, Guma on Jin. The T1 going to get themselves a big win here in this series. And great one to start, back and forth here. T1 though, once they got control, once that fight came through, once Shiu ended up dying, didn't really ever feel like T1 was gonna relent.